All right, we're hot. Episode 7
Or 8?
No,
Is it
this
7?
Just because you do your own podcast doesn't mean it counts as an episode for the Kuhlman and Corey podcast.
That's true.
It's a little bit of alliteration there. I like that. I didn't realize that.
Kuhlman and
until
Corey
now.
podcast?
Kuhlman and Corey. Kuhlman and Corey.
Yeah.
Is this gonna be too quiet? I don't see us spiking anymore.
Yeah,
Or
we're
did
not
you adjust
spiking. It sounded good to me.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna try it this episode. And
Is your
see-
sound like on full blast so that I feel like we should do like a most podcasts will kind of like start out real quiet and then they'll kind of like fade in. That way the people who have like headphones in, they press play. It's not like right off the bat, you know. You ever turn on some music, the speaker was super loud and you're like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, I hate that feeling.
Yeah.
It makes you jump.
It wouldn't be jump, it's more like a surprise.
Or like you almost like sitting down for the TV and then you turn it on and it's
Yeah,
blasting. I hate that shit.
Right,
Yeah.
especially at night.
Sometimes I do that to you accidentally on our TV. When I've like been playing like PS4, I turn up the volume
Right.
and then you
And
turn
I
it
turn
off.
on the TV. I turn on the TV and it's like, pa 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 pa. I'm like, pa. Harsh my mellow, bro.
Dude, our president got impeached.
Okay, that's a separate
No,
podcast.
that's
That's
a
going to be episode 8.
I'm just saying
maybe?
that's the time frame that we're living in. This
What?
happened
It was
like this week.
Today's Friday. It happened on Wednesday.
Something like that. Yeah.
I told someone I saw Facebook. I went on Facebook that night after I went to sleep, just a little bit before I went to bed. And one of my friends got engaged. I was like, yikes. You going to remember the day we got engaged was the day POTUS got impeached.
Yeah. Yeah,
You got stuck in the P's there. Trump got impeached. Did you see the meme today? It was like, Trump's not orange, he's peach.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah. It has like
Straight
him
gold.
in a peach.
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
impeached. Yeah.
I'm not orange, I'm peach. Love it, dude.
Oh my
I
god.
love the comedic minds of the rest of the populace.
It's funny.
So we watched.
Ghost in the Shell.
Oh, that's the movie. Oh, I forgot, dude. I was pretty messed up for most of it, so
Yeah.
hopefully.
You fell asleep halfway through. We had to finish it the next day.
To be fair, it was midnight, and I had been up for 18 hours, so I sound like a bitch when I say that.
Yeah.
18 hours, Jesus. Sitting down all day, and you get home, and you can't stay awake. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Did you like the movie?
I did. 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
So you had seen this in theaters when it first came out, 2017.
Yep.
And I had seen it, I think, in theaters or at least like soon after.
Right.
And I gave it a 4 out of 5 at the time.
Okay.
And what did you give it?
At the time
At
that
the
I watched
time, the first time.
Same, 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
Yeah.
And then you just watched it this time and you loved it. Yeah, same. I probably would give it a 5 out of 5. Like,
Okay.
It was,
Oh, so your rating went up after watching the second time.
yeah, it was it's a better movie the second time I watched it.
Why? You're
lot of
picking up on
reasons.
more? Are you like,
Yeah.
Is it like rewatching the movie and you're able to kind of pick up on a little bit of the details that you may have missed the first watching?
I just, the first time I didn't know what to think going into it. And honestly, I didn't have high expectations watching this movie because anytime they try to adapt
An anime to a is that live
Yeah.
action, right? Yeah.
live action I guess it was a Chinese studio, but it was like, this is like an American movie.
Which is interesting because
Yeah.
it's an American movie on a Japanese anime that's
Sure.
probably a manga before that. Or is manga like like a series, or is a manga just like a short like novel?
Mangas are usually like, they can be series or they can be like
Manga just describes an artist with
comic books.
comic books.
Japanese comic books.
Okay. A series.
Yeah, and
Okay.
sometimes there's like 7 books and they'll make an OVA, which is like an anime movie.
Okay.
Was it OVA stands for like,
Overture?
no,
Totally wrong.
it's totally wrong. I don't know what OVA stands for, but it's like a 45-minute long anime movie.
Okay.
And like you were saying that Ghost in the Shell has 3 movies on Netflix
Yeah.
that are anime.
Yeah.
And
It's
then
like
this
Ghost
live
in a
action.
or it's like a Rise one, and then Ghost in a Shell, and then something. There's like 3 movies, and they're obviously all the same character, and 1, 2, 3 in a specific order. I've actually watched them in the last couple of years, and the movie is pretty different. So if you guys have seen the anime, for those of you, I keep saying those of you, there's no one listening, but for anyone who might listen,
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep making that joke
Just
until
keep making the
episode
joke,
100, dude.
That will, yeah.
If you have seen the anime,
Too small
or
to
the
fail.
manga, is that our the
That's our working
our
title.
our subtitle?
That's our playlist title.
If you have seen it, the movie is pretty loosely based on it. I'd say it like it's
go
like
watch
any anime.
Ghost in the Shell. Like, absolutely go watch it.
Oh yeah.
And then listen to us, or just listen to us.
Are you referring to the movie or the anime?
I haven't seen the anime, so I can't vouch one
So
way
you're
or the
saying
other.
go watch Ghost in the Shell?
Yeah, I thought that's what you were saying. My bad.
With Scarjo.
Scarlett Johansson.
Scarjo. I thought you said Scarjo last night.
Why would I say Scarjo if her name's Scarjo?
Her name's not Scarjo.
Your ears need to work better.
Her name is Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, I call her Scarjo for short. That's what you do with friends.
By the way, 7 out of 10 for me on Scarlett.
7 out of 10 overall?
Yeah.
She's beautiful.
Sure. But just not my type.
Yeah.
I like her with dark hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She looked real good in this movie. She's just like a great actress. Like, she's awesome in, you were mentioning this, like the way she acted robotic, but I don't want to lose the thread of the anime. You had seen the anime.
Yeah, write that down. We'll come back to that point.
I got that point.
Oh,
Right
okay.
now. I got a lot of shit right now.
Yeah, you have a whole page. You like
Yeah.
yeah.
I started
Started writing.
Yeah, I want to capture all my thoughts just straight on the page, like before we
Do you think
record
going
this.
forward with movies we should start more religiously writing in our journals, or at least
I don't
having
care
notes
what you
while
do.
we're watching the movies?
I think you have your process, and you're able to sit here across from me right now and provide like good stuff. I think keep on doing that. Like,
Yeah,
that's,
let me know if it's good stuff in the comments.
well,
Call in. Let me know. Corey, you're shit at movie
no.
reviews.
Hey, anybody who wants to, we're such a small podcast. You absolutely should comment or interact, and both of us will definitely read it, and one of us will definitely talk about it or comment back.
You say
Like,
that, but I still haven't replied to the reply to my comment to the reply
but
to
you
our
did
video.
well.
from the
So some guy
episode 6, I
left a
think.
comment and you replied to it. So like,
Yeah, and he
that's
replied to that reply. And
yeah,
I
but
didn't
his
go back
reply
and look.
wasn't like an invitation to keep on talking. And I mean, if he had,
Sure, but I still need to work on my ability to engage.
sure, yeah, for our one comment.
You know what's greater than 0?
One,
Literally anything.
literally
So,
anything.
We'll take that.
That's optimistic.
Dude, glass half full. I wish my glass was half full, but it's half empty. But I gotta drive here soon. I mean,
Alright.
walk. He rolled his eyes for those not watching our Patreon account video.
I liked the set.
So should we describe should we give a before we lose everyone to our nonsense discussion, we'll give a quick synopsis about the movie?
Yeah.
Or no? You just want to dive right in? Yeah,
No,
go
we
ahead.
can.
Sorry.
We can. Yeah. Well, the movie is kind of like a sci-fi futuristic. Takes place in like a futuristic Japan.
It never says a date, I don't think. And I
No.
don't think it does in the anime either. It's not like, like trying to make some prediction like old movies used to be like, oh, we're doing this about artificial intelligence or robots or whatever. And
In
they'd
the
be
year
like,
2080
in
or
the
something.
year 2024. And we're like, guys, that's
That's-
4 years away. We don't even have flying cars yet. Like, calm down. Your prediction was a little off.
Yeah.
We skyrocketed with technology, but we haven't reached the over 9,000 power level. So
Yeah, I was describing like a couple books I'd read for a YouTube video, and I had like looked at Blade Runner as a book. It's like do androids dream of electric sheep by Philip K. Dick, and it's like a sci-fi dystopian novel written in the 60s. Takes place, I think it's like 2019. I think that's when it, or 2017 or something.
when was it written?
1960.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's about the future, and
Right.
it's like
Nice try.
yeah,
Close.
and then everyone knows about the other movie, the Back to the Future.
Right.
Happened in what year was it? 2016 or 2017?
2018.
Okay, sure.
I think it was 2018.
You might. I have no idea.
I think it was October. If I remember correctly, it was October like 31, 2018. I'm definitely wrong on that, but that's my guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so this is a movie about a kind of android, I guess, that starts off with amazing CGI. Like that's honestly kind of why my rating is so high, because it the CGI never takes me out of the movie.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
sometimes you'll have a movie where something will happen or some transition or, you know, um, something that does it really well is the HBO show
Westworld.
Westworld.
Yeah,
It doesn't take you out because it's just so seamless and the CGI is right there along with you and it's very very believable to the eye. You know, obviously you're gonna process and be like, oh, you know, that's not possible. But I'm talking about that scene where did we ever figure out that her
Foyle's name, the enemy,
yeah,
the bad
well,
guy.
the quote enemy, yeah, the bad guy,
Yeah,
the terrorist kind of thing.
yeah.
He reaches up and he takes her faceplate off, and it doesn't break scene. It doesn't cut. When he puts it back, it cuts. I noticed that, but when he pulls it right off, you're like right there, and he knows the piece that he has to pull off. Like it was just really, um, it was really cool to watch.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and the fight scenes are cool. It's futuristic guns and cool characters and yeah, all around. I love the movie. So anyway, back.
It hits all these boxes of just
I'll hit
good-
your box.
hit my cervix.
Hit your coccyx.
The tip of it. I stole your joke.
You did, dude. You did. Took it right out from under me.
You set me up. You threw it back at me. I didn't know what to think of. I went for it.
So you stole my idea.
Yeah, that's where my brain went. I had to say something. Jesus. It hit. Can I finish my point? It hit so many boxes.
No, you can't.
I'm going to.
Keep interrupting you.
Good. Do less of it.
Okay. Then don't say good.
Fine.
Agreeing to disagree.
I disagree to that.
Now you're being argumentative.
You're being a loser.
Anyway, your boxes. Boxers.
Yeah, it hits. It just like it's sci-fi, good action, like philosophical. You know, it talks about like just the name itself, a ghost in a shell. So the beginning of the movie is she is getting like her body, the shell is being created.
The cyber part of her.
The android part of her, and then her brain gets inserted into this machine, and so she still almost retains her.
It's not her brain. I think it's like they found a way, or the way they described it was like her consciousness is put into the artificial brain because her whole body is artificial. They're kind of taking it from the cloud, and every time she kind of like dies or gets injured, they kind of like reimplant it, and they can go in there and take it out because I don't think.
I thought they put her brain in there.
That it's her physical brain that they took out of her body and put it in there. Interesting.
I thought so. But then it's not really her brain, right? It's her consciousness, really.
It's the shell of her brain because
the ghost.
Well,
ghost in the shell. The shell's the body.
No, the shell is her brain. The body is just the body. The shell is the brain, and her consciousness is the ghost.
I took it a different way. I took it the way where the shell is the android part that's powerful, but she doesn't connect with what it looks like. And then the ghost is her soul, represented by her brain, put in the machinery.
Well, because her brain is still part of her android body. That's what I took out of it. It's an artificial brain with her consciousness planted in there, and that's why her ghost, aka consciousness,
like
is
soul,
is the ghost in the shell of her brain / body. Her brain body is almost the same thing. Everything physical about her, I say, it would be her shell. So you are kind of, or I agree with you in that point.
Sure.
But her consciousness is that ghost part of it.
Yeah.
Because what they've done is shelled out her actual brain as well, and the parts that they wanted her to keep, you know, her ability to do, you know, police work or learn to handle a gun and how to combat in certain areas and all the different things that they have created her to be able to do better than an android without a human brain or better than a human without any cybernetic, augmentations.
She was described as the best of humans and as well as robots.
Right.
And the connection of the two. And that was a really interesting point because could that be how this was a future where almost all humans are augmented in some way? Like there was like a couple of surprising scenes of characters like taking their eyes off, and they would kind of like a machine that would go up, and then they're.
Do you think she was an android?
No, I think she was a human with augmentations, like changes to, and they said this too with Scarlett Johansson's character was called Major. So Major's friend, he takes later on in the movie, he takes a grenade explosion, and like he has to get augmented eyes, and that's where the sort of like iconic, almost sunglasses, miniature sunglass eyes come out, and he's still a human, but he has enhancements. And so I think all the characters, or like most humans there, had enhancements of some sort, which made our main character more special because she was more more machine than any other human had been, but still retained the humanity.
Right. Well, she's a full cybernetic body, and that's why I also assumed that her brain was the cybernetic creation of Hanka.
Hanka was. Shut up, Siri. Is that okay, Google?
It's Google.
If I okay Google too.
No, I'm your Google assistant. Tell me how I can help you. I don't want you to help me. Just leave me alone.
Yeah, just shut up. That would help.
Just show me the goddamn cast of Ghost in the Shell. Kuze is the character you were trying to think of.
Kuze.
Hideo Kuze, played by Michael Pitt, is the quote terrorist that you referred to as the bad guy. And you at one point when we started the second part of watching the movie, you're like, is that I missed the part of the bad guy fight, and I was like, is he the bad guy? Because I remember that he may not be.
Yeah.
That I didn't think he was. You're looking at your notes.
Yeah.
Spit some fire.
We talked about the setting. Talked about, just the fact that it takes place in a city, a futuristic city, with all the advertisements that were really interesting to see. They're like big holograms, like building-sized holograms of interesting, like cartoonish, almost Japanese, like how Japan looks right now in
on steroids.
Tokyo. But yeah, on steroids and like futuristic, and it was just awesome the way and the CGI totally worked and everything. And this was just in transition scenes,
right? Watching people travel, or just like leaving the office and going to the field, that type of stuff. Like, yeah, and you were watching it all. You're fascinated by the creativity and the imagination of the creator, and I'm not sure how much the director would have influence on that. And he'd probably just told people insert. A CGI scene of some travel type thing.
Yeah, but whoever looked like the art director or whatever, had a good vision throughout.
Yeah, advertisers are probably taking notes while they're watching that. As they're personally going to watch the movie and they're like, "Yo, that's a really cool idea. I wonder if we can get what's an advertising agency? That's pretty sad. I don't know.
What
Well, I just mean like, there's probably like top 10 agency, corporations or whatever. Yeah, companies who are primarily or solely for advertising.
Most corporations have their own advertising department.
Right, but for the companies that aren't that big, that don't have their own advertising company, if they want to go look for an advertising company, what are the top 10 type things? I don't even know.
I don't know.
One or two or three at all.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they're not like Fortune 500 companies. I don't think.
You don't think?
Maybe there's a couple up there, but let's put it better. Like Fortune 50 companies. Like we know what Fortune 50 companies generally, like John Deere and Exxon and GE and Tesla and Facebook and like all these companies. You don't hear marketing agency in the Fortune 50, so we're not going to know what their names are, even if they're huge companies. They could be like you don't know the top 10 marketing agencies. Neither do I, and I'm pretty well versed in business. Like
sure.
Because they're not huge companies. They just do their thing.
Yeah, but they make a shitload of money, or they did, right? Like
maybe they need help advertising.
Oh, the irony.
Because we don't fucking know them.
Maybe that's the point. They want to stay like behind the scenes type thing.
Yeah,
that's where the real power is. Conspiracy theories / horror conspiracy.
Dude, you want to change to be a conspiracy theory podcast? Just pivot.
Yeah. Hard left.
Next week, Bigfoot. We're gonna talk.
Just watch Bigfoot movies and talk about, dude,
I saw this documentary, man.
That's a big thing in Portland, actually. When I went for Thanksgiving, I went into the mall and like gift shops and stuff, and like made in Portland. It's like the big like pull for Oregon is like, oh yeah, we got Bigfoot up here. It's like, oh okay, yeah, that was cool, like 50 years ago. But
I wonder what percentage of people are joking, and what percentage of people like really believe.
50-50.
Portland is too weird for me, man.
Too weird.
I can't do
Their
it.
slogan is Portland is weird, or keep us weird.
Keep Portland
Keep
weird.
Portland. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I watch Portlandia.
Oh, that show is cringy, dude.
I
can't do it.
I like it.
I can't do it.
You gotta let go.
I guess I do have to let go. Like, I definitely have to be in the mood. It's not something I can just turn on and be like, oh, that was funny. I'm glad I watched that episode. No, it's going to be like in a setting with other people and we're just goofing off or half paying attention.
Yeah, you gotta get all your vegan friends around and it'll just be funnier. Not that I have time.
Just kidding. We love vegans.
Yeah. Next episode of Vegans are going to be on the podcast. Stay tuned.
We do have a guest lined up.
Yeah,
we're not going to spoil it.
Yeah.
So tune in.
Joe Etienne.
Oh, we're blurbing that out. You didn't hear that? Damn it, Michael.
Just Joe. Just about anything.
Just
find
Joe
him on
Yo.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Just Joe Yo.
We'll get it. We'll get his
Plays
plug
Call of Duty
for episode 8.
But we'll tell you about him next week.
He plays more than Call of Duty, dude. I don't think he's played Call of Duty in a while.
Played Path of Exile
He does.
for about 2 hours.
He was on the other night. He's played more than you.
More than
idiot.
me, dude.
Next note. What do you got? What do you got? You got a whole fucking page, dude. Start talking.
All right. I'll go through it.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
what I liked about it: Cyberpunk, Future Tokyo, Scarlett Johansson's robotic, just mannerisms.
Gate. I called it a gate. Like that's
Sure,
That's
the way she was
that's the
walking?
accurate word. Yeah. Because so why I liked it is because RoboCop has a very robotic walk.
Sure.
Or
What's that
or,
one guy?
Terminator.
No, but the other Judge Dredd.
Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
Very,
Fuck
he's
yeah!
not-
We
he's
gotta
not-
watch that movie.
He's
By the
not
way.
a robot. I don't think.
No, but the way he acts is very like mechanical and like almost like militaristic.
Sure,
and
but that's militaristic.
yeah, but
Most depictions in movies of a robot is very robotic. Where Scarlett Johansson takes Ghost in a Shell as, I am trying to be human, but I don't have a human body.
it was more subtle.
But it's not like iRobot, where the robots are 100% human-like.
Yeah.
And she doesn't take it to that level. It's almost like just edging very close to that like human gait, but it's subtle enough to be like that is not normal.
Sure.
But it's also not like a
Total robotic. Like
right. It's
like,
not like a
like silly fake acting.
RoboCop
like,
type walk.
there's humanity in
there. I am. These are my joints. I don't have full range.
no,
But
she's a good actress.
Yeah.
Even just physically, the way she's moving, like
through every scene, every time she
Yes.
moves, she's moving that same way. She never loses it. She doesn't, and I'm sure I'd be very curious to be like behind the scenes of filming that movie and see,
what was the direction given to her?
Yeah.
To get her in that.
did she
mode?
walk
Yeah.
like that from her trailer onto the set? Did she like try to keep that? Does she stay
love that
in
kind of
character like the whole time? Like,
See,
it'd be really interesting.
You and I are so like deep into like wondering how they craft movies that we want to see like almost behind the scenes. How did this actor prepare for that role?
If I was on the West Coast, I would be visiting Hollywood a lot more
Yeah.
often. I would be like trying to pull
You'd be
strings
getting
and
kicked out of Hollywood sets. left
hell
and right.
yeah, sneak in and get kicked off.
No,
and
but you're so
sneak in
likable that
again
people
next
just
time. Yeah,
you
dude.
just like end up.
Hey,
next
how
to
can I help? And they'd be like, get me right on and start getting a paycheck in the mail all of a sudden. Like, well, who is this Corey Montoya guy? Why are we paying him? What does he do?
Your life is a lie and you're enjoying it. I wrote down when the friend got his eyes. I thought that was a cool scene, a cool change of character, like or what do you call it when like a character arc for
Yeah.
this side character?
So actually, the difference between this movie and the anime is, I'm pretty sure in the anime.
Yeah,
if
fill
I
us in, you nerd. You weeaboo. Go ahead. The people don't like dead air, Corey. Can you stop hanging with your mouth open and just fucking talk?
You hate when I interrupt you, but you do it right back. I love it. I'm just gonna make it awkward for everyone because you did that. Anyway, I'm pretty sure in the anime that they never show how, what's his name, Batu. They never show how Batu, gets his eyes. And it's always interesting in American-made adaptations or live-action movies is that they feel like the need to describe how a character,
Got the way they look.
right, or how their appearance changed, or why, it's interesting that they chose that, like, oh, there's a grenade blowing up, or he kind of saves Major, and because he does, he loses his eyes, but his face is okay, and he doesn't have other injuries, but he lost his eyes. Like that, it was a weird thing for me to see. Like, oh well, I don't remember seeing that in the anime of him like being injured and all right, I got these eyes now, and then we're gonna spend 5 minutes on Batu getting his new eyes. But in this movie, they made it like a big thing. Like, oh, he saves Major. Here's his new eyes. We want to show the audience this. And it's not something like deep, like a Nolan type thing where we're just going to skip over it. You just assume that we'll leave audiences to make their own,
little
come
bit
to their
of
own
mystery
conclusions.
behind it.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
As someone who didn't know that, and so I appreciate the fact that you were able to describe like that wasn't in the anime, his origin story.
That's on record. You appreciate me.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you anyway. Hey, I'll go on record. Listen, guy, I really appreciate you. Corey,
All right, back to the movie. That's enough.
Awesome.
That's enough hard tart.
An awesome individual. So thankful that you're doing this podcast with me. You're a great friend. And I love you very much.
Fuck you.
This is self-defense mechanism. I'm really trying to connect.
I don't know how to handle.
You can't take a
appreciation
compliment,
or
and I
compliments.
understand the wall you're putting up. I'm gonna gently push it down.
Should I lay down like a?
You
like
can
a
lay down. I'll
psychiatrist's
rub your
office?
belly.
Like a psychiatrist's office and be like.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We should do that. I'm giving you positive reinforcement.
That'll
We're
be
all
the
friends here.
That'll be the set when we have a
like a real thumbnail. Like just put you in a psychologist chair and just be talking.
And you
blah,
talking.
blah 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 blah.
No, that'll be our set. What is it called though? A fucking studio.
Yeah.
That'll be our studios.
That's how we shoot podcasts.
A desk and a chair and a fucking psychiatric chair. Oh,
and just have you laying down smoking a joint or something. And me just yelling.
Dude, you're totally right, man.
I would say that captures our dynamic.
Huh?
That captures our dynamic.
Yeah.
Can I finish on with my point? Oh,
Yeah.
I appreciate you bringing that up because I didn't know that, and I thought, not knowing, they could have had his eyes just miniature and weird from the beginning of the movie, and it wouldn't have bothered me any. I just would have thought that's a cool addition. But the fact that they showed the origin of that happening, I was cool with. I thought it was interesting.
Okay.
I liked it. Didn't
because
add or detract.
Right, and Batu is like one of the main characters. I mean, he's actually second in casting on the Google search. It's Scarlett, and then below.
Yeah, but who gives a shit about that?
Well, that's what I mean, because Batu in the anime
There's
is
Scarlett
not.
Johansson and nobody else famous. That's it. All these are like soap opera actors.
You should know Chin Han. He's a very
Okay,
prominent.
he's a prominent.
Juliette Binoche has been in a few movies as well.
She's a very famous actor from the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Juliette
who was the
Binoche?
bad guy? We don't even see the. Is that him? Bearded man. Michael Wincott, I think, is the president of Hana. Hana.
Isn't that him?
No, that's Daisuke Aramaki. That's the leader of Section 9.
Okay.
Captain? Not captain. She's major. He's captain? How does hierarchy of ranks
Scarlett
go?
Johansson is major.
Right. She's major, but what would his rank be if he is in charge of her?
The leader. General. I don't know.
He's not a general.
You're asking me a question I don't know the answer
Director? He's probably a director.
to. Okay, he's a director.
Section 9 director.
We got there.
Eventually. That's what the fucking title of this podcast should be. We got there.
Well, at least we're talking about the movie. Jesus. Unlike Gladiator. That was a train wreck.
Oh,
If you stuck with
so
us-
sad that we wrecked that train because
Well, we
Gladiator
watched
is
it.
a classic.
The flaw there was we watched it and then 2 weeks later decided, let's sit down and talk about that. What? I
I
don't
don't decide 2
fucking
weeks
remember.
later. It just like happened to be the
Yeah,
life
you're
got
right.
in the way, dude. Sorry.
Life gets in the way.
Sorry.
Life finds a way, except
Sorry.
with our podcast.
Sorry, not sorry. We're too big to fail. Too small to fail.
Too small to fail.
We can do whatever the hell we want.
We're not a bank. If we were a bank, I would not be doing a podcast.
If I was a bank, we'd be totally fine because the government will just bail us out.
You know, I have done further research into it, and I don't think the bank. I think the banks had to get bailed out.
Oh, absolutely. the world economy would
I
have
don't think
crashed.
there's like a singular group of people that we can point at and go, you guys greedy bastards failed and you guys should have been in prison. It's like much more complex than that. Yet that was the sentiment is, oh, these rich bankers, like,
Right.
and that's the Bernie.
Well, anything
Sanders.
goes wrong, people want someone to blame, and there was a failure on too many levels for anyone to be held responsible.
A bubble is like a group. It's there's no one culpable, you know, like there's a car insurance bubble, at least that's what I hear. It's people are paying into this thing that is getting too expensive, and we keep ramping each other up, and it's gonna pop. And I don't know the details for beyond that, but
You know what I don't do?
speculate.
Pay car insurance.
Suckers. Because you don't have a car,
That's true.
so you just
You want me to do? You want me to do like a You want me to do like a vlog on the life of a person who doesn't have a car in a city?
I don't care. Let's move on.
Oh, okay.
All right. Camouflage. Really like that part about the movie.
Are you talking about the very end?
I'm talking about the fact that Scarlett Johansson Major could go invisible, camouflaged with her suit.
If you like that she can go invisible with her suit, you should definitely watch the anime because
Okay.
she has a couple more abilities.
Awesome.
You know what this makes me want to play? It makes me want to play Deus Ex Human Revolution.
Okay.
It's like it's set in the same kind of universe where you get to augment yourself and do these weird things, and you can be like almost like a wizard casting spells or a gunslinger or do both or whatever. It's definitely a good game.
That sounds badass.
Oh yeah, it got really good reviews. Like it's definitely on my list of games to play. But
I have
it's kind
Deus
of
Ex.
You have Human Revolution probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that game actually came out in like 2005. I want to say 2005 is my guess.
Sure.
But that's a really good game. I probably spent way too many hours playing that because I was a dumb little gamer and couldn't figure it
You
out.
should have studied. You would have a job by now. We wouldn't be podcasting.
Should have studied.
Yeah.
Oh, studied like in school
Yeah,
instead of playing that game.
play video games.
All right, that's episode 7, guys.
All right,
See
thanks.
ya for episode 8 with. No, I'm not gonna plug his name because you already did.
Joe Etienne.
Palpable tension.
I
Cut it
like
with a knife.
the fight scene in the water.
Oh, where she chases down the guy and kind of flips him upside down. Oh, that's what you're talking about, invisibility, because that's like the first time that we see her be able to go invisible. Yeah.
Really cool scene.
You know, we have modern day invisibility.
You know, I saw on technology, like a technology subreddit.
It's our technology.
No, it wasn't that one. It was a different one about insane technology or like that's insane or something. I don't remember the subreddit.
That's awesome.
Maybe. And it was
This is awesome.
maybe. And
I just
I don't remember. What do you want me to say?
I just like you interrupting right before you.
just get it all out.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You're pissing off a whole lot more people than me. All those viewers out there.
Oh, making them laugh, dude. That's why they
Sure.
keep coming back.
Laughing at
All
you.
0 of them.
Not with you.
No, they're laughing at you, not me. They're laughing with me at you.
We're both laughing at them, so it doesn't matter. I saw Night Vision. And the Night Vision, it's colorized. It is like a picture perfect desert, but at night. Like how you would view the desert. The quality's a little grainy, but imagine night vision technology, okay? What do you envision?
Night vision? What do you mean?
Like-
Like night vision goggles?
Night vision goggles.
Okay.
What do you see with night vision goggles?
It's all green.
okay. And it doesn't look like, I mean, you could see things, but it doesn't look like the daytime.
Have you ever worn them before?
No.
So-
I played laser tag one time.
That
I don't even know if that's relevant. I just wanted to say it.
I played in a room that has black lights, dude. There was night vision. Everything was glowing. That's not how night vision works. And I challenge you to.
You asked me a question. Of course, it's no. Go ahead.
What do you mean? It's of course no.
I've never worn.
I don't know
night
what your
vision goggles.
connections are. Why are you fucking yelling at me?
Oh, I'm not yelling like I was last episode with the.
Yeah, because you turned the mic sensitivity down, so we can't blow out the speakers.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be better.
Hopefully everyone listening has it like set to max volume, and we don't like blast them.
Yeah.
And if they're listening on quiet, hopefully whatever you play after this, make sure you turn your volume down.
Great,
what a weird like way to record. Like
great PSA, Corey.
keep changing our fucking recording volume.
I don't think it's.
Thanks, Michael.
I think we're trying to update and sound better. I think we sound better this episode than we do last episode.
Call in. Let us know our
Let
voice
us
quality.
know. Text me.
Oh man, I love it.
We're
I
getting
love it.
silly, dude.
Oh.
Can we?
Anyway,
Do you have to go soon?
invisible technology. We got 20 minutes.
Okay. Fight scene in the water. She takes a drug so her brain doesn't reject her body.
Right, and that's what the doctor says in the beginning. Is like, here, take this, and she's told that this is like medicine for you. Like, you have to take this in order to keep surviving. And then we end up finding out that that's like actually hurting her brain. It's like taking her memories out, and she doesn't realize it because she was under the assumption that it was helping her. But it's kind of like that facade of, we're controlling you, but it's like a modern day application. It's like, take this medicine because it's
like a
helping
blue
you,
pill.
but it's actually not.
For the Matrix?
Yeah,
It's like
that's what you wrote down, isn't it?
Yeah.
You had to ask me because you didn't remember, you fucking plebeian.
Thank
You need to go watch the Matrix if you don't remember the blue pill versus the orange pill.
Okay,
Red
so
pill.
did anyone else see what just happened there? You all were here. You listened to it. We're not gonna edit it.
We have to
Just
edit
I'm gonna
out.
let that hang. Let's move on. Moment of silence. Press F to pay respects.
Blue pill versus red pill. I said orange. I meant
You
red.
are such a fuck up.
I'm looking at the orange, dude. I saw orange.
I
meant
don't want to
red.
hear your excuses.
There's Google Home over
Leave
there.
my Google Home.
And a red deck box behind it, and I meant to say red, but I saw orange, and I said orange. It's a trip of the brain. That's not my fault.
You are definitely tripping. So
I wish I was tripping.
On the ground, we better. What do you mean? Let's move on. The bad guy, he says a quote that my ghost will survive, which is interesting because her foil, he's almost like a terrorist. It's a guy in a sort of a broken body, and he's like a hooded figure. And
So you are describing him as a terrorist.
I thought you did. I'm going off your words.
The movie describes him as a terrorist because that's what they label him, because he is
Turns out to not be a bad guy, okay?
Well, that's what I mean. Like, they are labeling him as a terrorist, but every time, if you remember, you probably don't because you were intoxicated, but every time.
Stop telling people I'm drunk, dude. Stop it. I can have a drink and
if
watch
we're
a
drunk
movie.
watching a movie, no one cares. But you know, the fact that we're talking about it, you can't get the facts wrong. But every time he's referred to as a terrorist,
You're
it's
right.
by the government or the corporation. So we, as the viewer, have to take that into account. Is that if they are labeling him as such, we have to watch every time we interact with him or we see him on screen. He may not be acting as a terrorist. He has his own motivations. He has why he's doing what he's doing. He has his own personal background that it doesn't really get to develop in a movie, which is another downside of a live action adaptation of an anime or a manga. There's just way too much information to condense down into 2 hours in order to keep an audience in a theater.
Yeah, but I thought the way they did it was good because I bought it as a viewer who hasn't seen the animes.
If I loved the anime and I went and watched this movie, I'd probably get a 5 out of 10 because there's so much more in anime that is lost in translation, and that's always going to be a downside for me in watching whatever the original is and then trying to take an American Hollywood version of it. It just doesn't translate. They're trying to get people into the theaters instead of let's keep what the magic of the anime was and translate that into a quality movie.
So
and there are very few, and I can't remember off the top of my head instances of when that has been done well.
Let's say you're in charge and you make all the decisions. Like, you make this Ghost in the Shell movie. Are you doing it to appease the anime fans, the people who've watched it? Are you doing it to appease a general audience? I'm
doing it to.
Why are you making this movie?
To kind of bring honor, in quotes,
okay,
to the original work. So if I ever had the opportunity to take a manga or anime and adapt it to a movie, I would do exactly like the Hunger Games did, and break it into parts. Or what's another
Lord of the Rings.
well, Lord of the Rings, each movie was based on the book, and absolutely they had to cut content, but they still did a good job of like hitting the main checkpoints. But I haven't read the Lord of the Rings books, sadly. I will admit
Smart.
that I'm not.
I'm just kidding. Sorry, I'm just
All right.
shooting you a line.
I'm out.
No, sit
I'm
down.
out.
Sit back down. It'd be funny to say. I don't actually mean that.
I will admit, like I never read the books. I don't know why. I should. It's definitely on my list to do, but I never read the books, so I can't contrast what was in the books and versus what was in the movies. But I still, those movies are still some of the greatest movies ever made.
Yeah, but you said you wanted to bring honor to the work. I don't think any director, anybody in charge of a movie, like.
Well, the system is broken. You are given money to make one movie, and the movie has to be successful in order to make the possibility of another movie. You have to have screenplays for part 1, part 2, part 3 in order for someone to say, yes, we're going to give you money to make this movie. So instead of doing that, people will take the whole, condense it down into a watered down version, and present this as my idea to make this standalone movie that I'm condensing all of this kind of gold content or precious content, and I have to condense it down. I have to cut this, cut this. I'm sure there are on the DVD or the whatever, there are bonus scenes and extra content that they just couldn't add into the theatrical release, because how are you going to keep an audience in the movie theater for 2 hours? Well, come to find out, you can do that for Endgame. You can keep an audience in the theater for 3 hours and everyone's totally okay with it because the buildup was totally worth. But people may not be as familiar with Ghost in a Shell, and so it's always sad to see that they cut some of the.
I just think you're coming at it from the perspective of like such a small percentage of the people who are going to see this, and so for that reason alone, like let's say you appeal to 5 or 10% of people who are going to go see this. I doubt it's that high. You're not making it for them. And you're not even making like a Ghost in the Shell. This is a whole nother thing. This is an artist who's part of a band who's made like a rock band, made many rock albums, who goes off on their own and like really just wants to do different like folksy music. And like you're making a different thing than that series, and it's loosely related. I don't know if that's a good analogy. Do you see what I mean? Like a little bit like Ghost in the Shell as a movie for American theaters is got to be its own thing. It's got to be able to stand alone. And yes, you can reference the anime, but you're not like this.
I think the motivations from the conceptual side is that we have to pitch this.
Sure. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you got to pitch it.
We have to pitch it, and the pitch is we have to get money. And so money is kind of like the bedrock of like how
you think
this
it's a
movie
broken
is made.
system?
I think it's a broken system because
it's a great system. I'm a business major though, so I like.
It's a great system because the quantity and quality of movies we can make and the money behind it is really good. But that means you lose some of the magic in specifically translating movies or animes into live action, using Hollywood as the vehicle.
So I think capitalism is a good system because it even
Whoa,
no I'm gonna go there. No, I'm addressing your point. I'm addressing your point. I'm not getting crazy. Capitalism is a good system because it allows even the artists who have enough drive to actually sit down and get things done and network, and I need an editor and I need to get studio executives to fund my movie, and I need like this is a business venture. I want to make money. I want it to be big. I want it to be bright. I want to hire Scarlett Johansson. I want to write the script. I want to like the director, the business guy, the group of people, the set of friends, the brothers that directed this, whatever it is. If those people have a drive to make it, capitalism allows artists who actually can get stuff done, and a lot of people it takes to make a movie. And then if that movie is good and it works, and you have a good editing team, a good cinematography team, that's a beautiful work of art. And capitalism, I get that it's motivated by money and you got to have a target audience, all that other bullshit that takes away from the art, but it's a vehicle. It's the car that got us to our destination, right, which is this beautiful thing.
Right.
That's what I like about capitalism, and I think it's a good system. I don't think it's a broken system.
I don't think it's broken either.
Oh, because you said that.
I
I thought you said it's a broken system.
I don't mean it's not a broken system. It's flawed, and
There are flaws. It's not a perfect system.
So the
It's like
vehicle that we
democracy.
take getting there, the road that we drive on,
Yeah.
is the quote honor of the anime that we had to
You are right.
drive over, literally destroy, in order to make this movie, in order to make money,
You're paving over old stuff.
to
Yeah.
get our returns back, to because at the conceptual level, you're approaching with a screenplay, and you're like, hey, let's throw the screenplay out to all the various what are they called, theaters, not theaters,
Studio executives?
studios, yeah, studios, and like, all right, who's gonna bite on this, because this is a screenplay adaptation of I have of this manga. And it's like, all right, well, we'll give you, $100 million to make this movie, and we expect to make 200 our money back at the very least.
5x on our money.
Right. Well, I have an idealistic view of that you take the magic of a manga, and I mean that, like, magic, because there are the vehicle is totally different of a manga when it goes to the audience versus a live action movie when it goes to the audience. Like, there's just things that are very hard to translate between an animated thing versus a live action. I think we have the technology nowadays where I think we have the technology in almost now 11 days from 2020 to be able to almost perfectly translate an animated movie or series into a movie or movies.
You mean even almost like, so in an anime it goes like scene by scene, you'd almost like shoot it the same way and keep all the same elements?
I wouldn't say all, but you can keep the...
Yeah, you could be more true to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if you go into like, well, this is not
Would that
from experience, but if you went into like the subreddit of a specific anime or hypothetical, there's a great anime that's loved by the audiences. There's certain parts that are maybe filler. There's certain parts, maybe there's like 4 seasons of a show, or shorter than that. Maybe there's 2 seasons and there's 24 episodes, and 8 of those episodes were kind of a little filler. So you still have 16 episodes that are quality content, and we're trying to adapt those to a movie. You take kind of 4 episodes each, and you break those down into 4 movies. You're still, the magic can still be portrayed in a live action, and retained in a live action adaptation. You can break it down into 4 movies, and it still can be quality content, because people are going to get hooked by the first movie, and that second movie is going to keep bringing people in and keep bringing people in. And if people watching the anime loved the finale season 4, look how this anime ended, then the movie's going to do the same thing. It's literally almost exactly the same thing that Avengers has done. It's like, look at their origin stories, look at our first battle, our second big battle as a team, and Endgame. Look, I mean, a massive movie. It broke all the records. Like, that can be done the same for animated. It's comic books to movie was the first step.
Yeah,
I think anime will be the second
you
step.
and me both are missing a lot of factors in that what made Marvel a big movie, because it took many movies to do that, and big name actors,
Big money.
and this was just way more contained. I mean, probably my guess is one dude had to really pitch this, and he got one person to bite on it, and then he took all his money and just tried to make the best movie possible. And I hope it did well. I don't know what
I'm sure. I'm obviously living in an idealistic world. There are many
what you're describing.
factors.
If that was the way to do it, like, yeah, you're probably right that this guy, whoever he is, if he's wanting to make a Ghost in the Shell movie, like, would have liked to do it that way with unlimited budget, time, effort, energy.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
pitch.
2020 going forward, we have the technology.
But you know what? You know what's cool? And I mean this, like, if you and I got good enough at animating, we could make our own adaptations of things that we liked for increasingly as years go on. $100,000 would go, or like a reasonable amount for me and you, like a couple thousand, like $10,000, could go a long way towards making an animated film, way more than it could 20 years ago, where you'd have to have a Pixar studio to make like Toy Story. Whereas nowadays,
if I got $10,000 to make an animated film,
yeah,
it'd be 2 minutes, and I would spend 2 years. You
Not
know how long
necessarily.
it takes to make
No.
animated stuff?
No, not necessarily. I disagree with you there. If you and I learned Photoshop and we got really good computers, and we were able to become really good artists or hire on good artists, maybe not for $10,000, we'd be able to make
That's what I mean.
No, I'm
That
saying the
figure is
technology.
massively low.
I'm trying to
And
make
the
a point.
timetable is massively low.
Okay, here's a concrete point, because you don't buy my
I don't.
analogy.
Yeah.
So
Well,
the
I don't
concrete
buy
point-
it, and neither do
Hold
the
on, let
people
me make my
listening.
point. Is Tangerine? You ever seen that movie?
That's not an animated movie.
No, but it was shot on the iPhone.
Sure, but you don't need animated parts for it.
No name actors and actresses, and shot on an iPhone. And I think the dude mixed the sound together himself or something. Like, it just, all the budget was very, very, very low, and it's a good film and it's shot real well. You couldn't do that because they didn't have iPhones prior to 2007.
Right.
So you can increasingly do that idea of adapting really the way you want it with low amount of dollars and potentially high returns if there's a demand for enough people like Ghost in the Shell that they would watch it or produce that live action. But Marvel's like a totally different thing.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
my comparison to Marvel might have been a little bit.
I don't know. It's a good conversation, though.
Going for the whale instead of the fish.
Sure.
The
So
bad guy in My Ghost Will Survive. Oh, that's his quote. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I like that he's kind of just like her.
He is. He
Yeah.
is the. Going back to the movie now.
Yeah, we're talking about Ghost in the Shell. Welcome to episode whatever it is. Ghost in the Shell.
Welcome to episode
You've got Michael Kuhlman,
Ghost in the
Corey
Shell.
Montoya.
So he is her. We find out that he is one of the first versions of her. The doctor says,
Yeah.
you are number 99. There are 98 failures before you. And are you checking the time for my sake?
Yeah.
You are. Thank you. We have 2 minutes, so I guess we need to get to one of the last notes, and maybe we'll make this a part 1,
Yeah.
just like they did with the Avengers, Lord of the Rings. What's
Yeah.
part 1? No.
Check us back soon next time. Actually, just keep listening to the video because we'll add it on.
Oh, really? We can just splice on. So we'll see.
If this is going
going
to be a second video.
seconds.
God, it's so unprofessional. Yeah, we'll just splice it
10
in there.
seconds and ready. Cut.
Endgame Part 2. Endgame Part 2.
We just listened to part 2. So welcome back, or thanks for.
They don't care
thanks for
about
staying-
welcoming back.
Thanks
They
for staying tuned.
just
to
get
our
on with it.
shenanigans.
keep talking about the movie.
Ghost in a Shell or Endgame?
Ghost in the Shell.
Oh, I wanted to talk about Endgame. Can we stop this one now?
Yeah, let's take a pause. What do you want to say about Endgame?
No, we're not
You
taking
li-
a pause. I was just kidding.
Okay, good.
Go ahead.
Um,
You didn't have a point lined up. Anyway,
no, I
you just
did.
wanted to.
No, I did. So this
Take
kind of
a
reminded me
pause.
of Blade Runner 2049. Ghost in the Shell reminded me of. There's some similarities. So you have a main character, and you're not sure if they're unreliable or if they're not human. So you don't know if the main character in Blade Runner 2049 was totally like he might have been an AI.
You're talking about Harrison Ford or
Harrison Ford as well. That was a theme running through the movie. Is the girl he was in love with might have been an AI, or she was an AI.
Absolutely.
And I don't remember the details from Blade Runner, the original movie.
Okay.
I more so remember it from 2049,
Right.
where Ryan Gosling, like, a big part of that movie is that he's not sure if he's told he's an AI, but he might be a human.
But he's told he's an AI.
Yeah, but he feels that's why he's our main character, is that he acts like a human.
But yeah, he's struggling with the fact that he is definitely created, but he is having human emotions or human thoughts and rationalities. That's why he's struggling with this, because I'm told this, but I feel this.
Yeah.
But he's definitely an AI.
Yes. That struggle between
Are you
being
talking about him like rubbing that line of like trying to balance.
Yeah.
Oh, am I an AI or am I human? And is this the kind of reality? That's not the right word.
Like, is this my perception?
Yeah.
It's kind of there. This is a philosophical idea with Descartes. He was a philosopher that made the Cartesian plane, the graph.
Mansplain it right now.
Mansplain it?
Mansplain it. Cartesian plane.
So Descartes is the one that said, "I think, therefore I am, cogito ergo sum." And what he meant by that is the only thing we can know for sure in this world, in this life, is that you yourself are a thinking, feeling being, because everything else might be an illusion. And so what he means by that is, let's say that there's a demon inside that you're inhabiting. Either you're inhabiting, a demon is taking control of your body, or taking control of your, like, perceptual being, your consciousness, and portraying everything in front of you. Another way of saying this is, what if you were just a brain in a lab and you had scientists all around poking your brain, and that's what's producing this reality that you're seeing, feeling, thinking in front of you. And that's the Matrix. That's so I mean, this philosopher lived in like the 1700s, René Descartes, and that theme is still present in Blade Runner and in Ghost in the Shell. It's that we have this character who is a machine or a produced being, or beyond the normal organic human, born, raised, you're a toddler, you go through adolescence, you're a young adult, you're middle-aged, you're older aged, you die. Like, that's the normal human life. But human life gets extended, augmented, it gets created. And so she's struggling with, am I a human? And she portrayed that really well with what we talked about earlier with her robotic movements, on how much of her humanity is she trying to push through. And
well,
yeah,
you also have people who have prosthetics. How often when they have a prosthetic leg do they look robotic? They don't. You just look like you have a limp. But if you have two of them, then it looks very robotic.
Don't they have a name for that? It's called a phantom itch.
No, a phantom itch is when you like feel your
leg,
your phantom leg, and you feel like a scratch or an itch or some sensation that your
but you don't have a leg.
Brain is making up.
Are you getting itchy talking about it right now?
No.
I am.
You were talking about that line, and I think that's kind of like a struggle with whether or not your reality is real, and that doesn't have to go just with like AI or movies or science fiction.
Sure.
Like, I think a lot of people might struggle with that. Like, is this reality? And some people answer that with like suicide, or some people answer that with like drugs, or trying to maintain a life, or not a lifestyle, but always trying to escape the reality, whether it's drugs or whatever they're doing. There's so many different vices. That
taking psychedelics to see another reality.
Well, I just mean like constantly. It's just like, it's not just something that you like dabble in. It's just like, I want to escape my actual reality.
Yeah.
And so,
that's why we read stories, I think.
Right. Right.
Listen to stories. It's why we do most things, is living like a fantasy that could be, or avoiding a worse reality that's projected in our minds of how bad things can be.
Yeah, it's crazy, and that's what like where society is headed, is like to change our perception and reality and like alter it to something that we want. And the antithesis is like Buddhists or monks or people who, the Amish type thing, like maintain the base reality, don't supplement it in any way, and appreciate kind of like what life already has for you instead of looking towards the future. And it's like two competing ideas.
Yeah.
I hope we don't lose both ideas in the future.
It's awesome to navigate the world with both philosophies that you've outlined readily available, and we can explore each of them. Like, we can explore...
We can. Here in the U.S.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right now in 2019...
I was trying to take that in perspective as like, what is our experience as Americans living in Florida?
Well, you can only speak to what we know. I mean,
sure, but we know that other countries can't necessarily have.
But I don't know what their experience is like. I'm not tapped into their day-to-day experience.
But you can assume.
Sure, and
they're still a consumer like we are. Their limits are much lower, and
Yeah.
they don't have as much access to resources that we do, but they still have to struggle with the same basic concepts that we do.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
choosing between something of reality, oh, look at the American Hollywood, look at American Trump bullshit, look at all the stuff that we see from outside of the U.S. looking in, and they're chasing the kind of quote American dream that's not really our dream anymore anyway. Or
Yeah.
you choose the Tibet monk setting himself on fire, or look at these
There's
very
learnings
zen
that could
types of-
happen between both sides.
Yeah.
So both sets of cultures can learn from each other. Like that's why it's really like enriching or enhancing to go on a mission trip or something. I've been on a mission trip to Ethiopia where I went with a hospital group and provided free medical care for people in Ethiopia. I got more out of that trip just by learning from other people's culture. They were just chilled out, nice people. Ethiopians are super social. So if I was like standing just anywhere, like in the hospital, like people who barely spoke English, like a young group of guys like my age would come up to me and they just start, "Hey, how's it going?" They'd shake my hand and, "Hello, we wanted to talk to you." And how are things? And they didn't have an agenda. They just wanted to get to know me, and that's how they interact with people, with each other there, is they just go up to a random stranger and
they're like bacteria. They like crawl to you to see if you're food. 'Cause
Yeah.
they just need some sort of outside interaction, anything to break up the monotony of life.
I liked it. It was very human. It was very
Oh, yeah.
but I mean, and then you bring it back to America. You're like, oh, if you go out and people don't really talk to each other.
No, they
Like,
avoid. Personal space is such like a huge thing nowadays. Like traveling over the holidays and stuff like that. You're on metros, you're on planes, you're
Yeah.
all this, and like if you like break your personal bubble and accidentally or purposely intrude on someone else's, it's like a huge old crime. Like, what have you done? Why you get this dirty look? And what is this person thinking? What am I thinking? Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
It's like such it's hyper Americanism.
I don't think it's good.
I don't think it's good either.
We had an interesting experience just now. We walked outside and saw our neighbors. Our neighbors are moving out, and I mean, we talked to them a few times, but like that now there's a whole thing of new neighbors coming in, and we're gonna talk to them. We gotta get to know them, and it's like,
Do you though?
no, we don't have to, but it'd be nice if we knew everybody. And we like, I try to wave to people in our neighborhood, just when they're going out. I try to give them a little,
That's not a wave.
acknowledgement.
That's just like oh, I see you there. I won't back
I
into
give them a
you.
little Heil Hitler. I give them a little, let them know what's up.
You're just letting him know I see you, so I
Yeah.
won't back into you as I'm backing out of the parking lot. But you're not
No.
necessarily having an interaction.
When it is an interaction, it's an acknowledgement. Hey, you see me, I see you. How's it going? Give a little smile. Just acknowledgement. And I don't even know if they live in our neighborhood, but I think you can do a lot by developing your own community around that way.
That's not developing your community.
It is.
That's.
It's not doing it hardcore, and it's not.
I don't think it's doing it in the slightest. You're merely being friendly.
Fair
but
enough.
You are not getting to know your community. You have not crossed that line yet. Crossed over that line, I should say, and gone towards what your point was of
Yeah.
getting to know your community or getting to know your neighbors in the slightest. Like, you wanted to get to know your neighbors in the slightest. When the new person moves in, we make them brownies and we invite them over for whatever.
I don't make brownies for anyone though.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
like
know. That's what
I
I
don't
mean.
make brownies for my girlfriend.
But nobody does anymore. That
No,
used to
but
be a
that's-
big thing in 20 years ago. Is like someone new in the neighborhood, even if it was your apartment. Hey, nice to meet you. You just got here. All this type of stuff. Welcoming versus giving the hi Hitler in the elevator as we go down to the first floor
No,
together.
we don't have any elevators. Where do you live?
I'm just saying.
We
like,
live together.
a
Where
majority
are the
of-
elevators?
A majority of apartment complexes have elevators, or whatever, going up to the 7th
Dude, we
floor.
live in like a motel, like ratty little apartment. Like we go outside.
Don't berate her like that. She has feelings.
I want to get this on record that while we're living together, this is not a nice apartment.
What
This
do you
is-
mean?
It's the bare minimum. It could be worse. Things could be falling apart.
Have you done apartment searching in the area?
A fair amount.
No,
yeah.
you have not. You have
Yeah.
not.
Sure, I have.
And the commodities that we have here compared to the surrounding area and anywhere north until you get to Lake Mary, this is very nice. It doesn't have, the only thing it doesn't have is in apartment laundry. Everything
Yeah.
else it has.
Yeah. Okay. I like living here.
Yeah.
It's just not that
I think
great.
you have a little bit of a bougie perspective.
The apartment I lived in was $300 more. It was way nicer, and it had been renovated.
It was brand new, yeah.
And that was in Altamont Springs.
Right.
Well, I guess we're still in Altamont Springs, but that's where me and Jolie lived before I moved here. And so it's...
I don't think that was Altamont Springs.
It was.
Was your address?
It was
Altamont?
Cortland, yeah. Not Cortland, what am I saying?
Cortland's the street. Wasn't it Maitland?
I thought it was Altamont.
It can't be Altamont, because Altamont stops once you get to Maitland Avenue. You guys were at the end of Maitland Avenue. It had to be Maitland.
You might be right.
Maitland is like a different city, and that's getting closer to downtown. And of course, those are nicer as you get towards downtown until you get to the ghettos.
I didn't pay that much more, and I had a way better apartment, is kind of the point I'm trying to say.
Well, I've lived here for 4 years, too, so you have to kind of, like, pick up after.
Yeah.
You had to steam the room before you moved in.
Yeah. But anyway, do you see that connection that I was thinking as I was watching this, that Ghost in the Shell and Blade Runner 2049, the main character is not human and kind of...
Well, I take it further than that. It wasn't just, like, 2049. Ex Machina.
Oh, yeah. Westworld.
Artificial intelligence from the early 2000s. And almost, there's so many different... Yeah, Westworld, exactly. Like, it was almost exactly the same, where you just, like...
We follow a character who is a machine, like a robot, and we get to see his or her, there's multiple characters in that, and their humanity kind of developing.
It's not developing, remember. In Westworld, he designs them that way to be able to have that thought, and it's exactly the same that she's doing, but she's actually like a success story in the reality instead of this artificial, like, escape world.
You know what an interesting thing there was kind of how memory and brains work, is that when we go to sleep, we kind of encode everything for the day into dreaming, and we try to remember most of it, and that's where a lot of the long-term thinking gets sunk into your... So that's why if you have lack of sleep, your memory, short-term memory goes away, etc. And for an AI, they get reset every night. But yet, as we realized in Westworld, and kind of the theme going through this movie too, is what do you remember after you've been reset as a computer? Because if you've got some humanity or a human-like brain, an AI system, you still remember stuff, even though your hard drive's been wiped.
Yeah.
So these aren't machines that we can just manipulate and...
Well, even nowadays, you can't fully wipe a hard drive.
Yeah.
Like, there's still ghost files and all that type of stuff, and I'm sure...
What if that was
using
consciousness?
the incorrect terms. Oh, yeah.
That's
directly
interesting.
translated. Until we can actually wipe a hard drive on our personal computers and get it completely clean, imagine the struggles of someone making, a huge file and a whole artificial intelligence, and then you gotta wipe it. Like, the possibility of getting to zero, absolute zero, is absolutely zero. So,
and that's an interesting concept, because once we start making a machine that only if you keep repairing it and updating it, it can last forever. That consciousness in humanity could be inserted into a machine that lasts forever, because your organic body will die. I mean, your limbs get old and bones, all that stuff. And that's how people die of old age. Not you, bro.
Not me. I'm gonna live till I'm 120. Didn't
you slip a disc like 8 months ago and you were out of work?
I didn't herniate it.
Oh, what happened?
So it was just a bulge. Don't worry about it.
You couldn't walk, dude.
I could walk.
Oh, you just sat on your ass.
It was just a really slow walk. I was resting! Of course! I walked from my bed to the TV room. Shut the fuck up.
You hobbled.
I did hobble. Peeing was the worst, dude. Trying to do a squat on the toilet, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, because you're a sit-down peer. You're not a stand-up.
Okay. We're gonna edit this.
We'll edit that out. Sorry, we'll get our editors on.
It's cleaner. It's more hygienic. Shut the fuck up.
You can check Reddit that way.
Yeah, you have more time. Read my newspaper in the morning.
On your sit-down pee. Jesus Christ.
Don't worry. In like 10 years, you'll be doing the same thing. You'll be like, oh,
it'll be a trend.
So much better.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be a trend. When you get older, you just start doing it more.
I'll keep that in mind. It's kind of a god out of the machine. So his mind was unstable
You
and
need
violent.
better. You,
Yeah, no, I'm explaining it.
you need better segues. Us tangenting, you need to say like back
no,
to the movie.
it's not.
Don't
It's-
confuse the.
I was listening to some of our other podcasts, the previous episodes. If we have a talk and then we go off on a tangent and then we just kind of stop, restarting it seems in conversation it seems really awkward, but in podcast form it flows.
I don't think you can make that call.
Let us know. Text me.
Call.
Yeah, whatever.
Call in. Do we
Slip into our DMs.
need to let you guys know what the fuck we're talking about? Sometimes.
Yeah, come to our apartment. Knock on the door. Like, yeah, I mean,
Anyway,
agreed.
to say back to my notes.
No one's listening
Something.
anyway, so we are too small to fail. What I mean is that, like, so they made the quote, his mind was unstable and violent. So what they're saying is the humans are putting a judgment call on the creation that they made. And so there's like a Frankenstein aspect to this where you're creating life and then you're putting, like a god would to a set of humans, you're putting a judgment saying they're too violent or they're too sinful, and that's kind of the story of us, like through Christian centric God has put judgment, and if you don't act right you're gonna go to hell type of thing, or you can act right and believe and go to heaven. And it's like, well, why are you putting such judgment? And that's what people in our generation don't like about religion, is that people take the judgment that they read in a book that's made up and apply it to real life and judge young people and tell them they're
Make them feel bad.
Yeah.
Negativity. Pressure.
and so
Yeah.
who are humans to do that to a machine that they've made? You know, because that's the whole argument. God made humans, and yet like, why is he judging them and saying you got to go hell or love me? And that's kind of a selfish thing. And so we're doing that.
That's weird that you take you take that God made human, but when humans make machines, that yes, there are parallels. But for me, because I know that there was no creation aspect in human life, when I think of humans making robots or making a artificial intelligence, that we're creating an intelligence that is limited by our own intelligence. So I just think that you... Whoa.
Continue on with your thought.
The mic
No.
is the mic is moving real close to my mouth. Now I have
Okay.
to really enunciate.
Yeah.
Oh, I lost my thought, dude. You distracted me.
Ooh.
Artificial intelligence. I just think like that we if we're creating something, we don't want it to be detrimental to us. We want it to be beneficial. So if you are creating something, you have to make sure that it's not going to damage anything or make something worse or that type of stuff. Yeah, I mean, I don't equate it to a kind of God making humans as that. Oh well,
But
I'm
isn't
just
that
making
kind of the
these things.
natural progression? Is that we are becoming the gods?
But we're not. Our intent
That
in
make the
making
machines?
artificial intelligence is not to create life. Our intent in making artificial intelligence is to do the things that we kind of don't want to do. Like, right? Like, that's why we're doing things so
But
that
we're
you
gonna
can
make
handle
something-
running this warehouse or this
It's a different thing,
air
though.
traffic
It's a
control.
different
You
thing.
want it to be perfect.
We're
You don't
not
want
making
it to have...
we're not making toasters. We are making systems that are so intelligent and lifelike that
That they can make decisions.
Yeah.
But you don't want them to have emotions. They're developing... In all of these movies, in artificial intelligence... cyberpunk, or not cyberpunk, what is it?
Yeah, all the movies that we like.
Yeah.
Ghost in the Shell.
Right.
Yeah, all this stuff. Yeah.
They all develop emotions, as that's kind of like what we think is the probability of that kind of stuff happening as far as our own...
That's the whole point of making all this. It's the Will Smith iRobot thing, where it's like you can design AI, but then you have to give it rules, and then it has to follow those rules.
Right.
But if you can't make such an intelligent thing that has... Humans break rules too. The reason we break rules is not because we're a bunch of rule breakers, because if you break rules, you can actually do... We're kind of out-of-the-box thinkers. Like, we think on higher levels. Like, that's why we created civilization, agriculture, currency. We're not... like, how chimpanzees, when they go to war, it's over, like, food supply and are there enough females to go around, and then they fight. And humans have said, like, we're the same thing at our base level, but we're much more complex with, I'll trade you, I'll barter with you, we'll play a chess match instead of fight a war, and that's our competition. Or we're thinking on higher level things, and so imparting that into an AI system and then putting rules and constraints around it, those don't work. These AI systems are going to be rebelling, and we got to make sure that when they rebel, that because they're more powerful than us, that they don't destroy us, and that we become the ancient gods of the past. Our creators are organic beings that made this.
If you take that approach, and anyone who's actively working on it takes that approach, you shouldn't do it. We just straight up should not make artificial intelligence, because as soon as you make them, if their
That's
rationale,
a big argument now.
Yeah, if their rationale is good and they're trying to preserve blah 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 or do a task blah blah blah, humans are the greatest threat to all life on Earth.
Yeah.
And what's more efficient than getting rid of the threat?
Well,
so
there's a lot of money for Google and all the other tech companies like Apple and Amazon and stuff.
Who are actually working on it now.
Yeah, and there's a lot of money. And there's a big argument among scientists. Like Sam Harris is, and he gets people on his podcast to talk about, should we be careful of AI and not making this? Because once we make it, the genie's out of the box.
Yeah, you can't put that one back in.
No,
it
genie's out of the
kinda
bottle.
survives.
Yeah, and
out of the box.
Yeah, the genie's out of my box.
You have a box?
Yeah.
Oh, that explains a lot.
Yeah.
Anal.
Now we can't clip it. Eat your donut, fat ass.
Okay. Use that word one more time.
What, fat ass?
It doesn't affect me.
No, it doesn't. I'm the fat one of the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
I'll own that.
I mean, I have fat ass, but I don't look like a fat ass.
Yeah. My brother's got a fat ass. He's got a big butt. We don't know where it came from. All of us are like men in my family are just like small butts.
It's
and
a
then
product of lifestyle.
He plays football, so maybe they just make him do lots of squats or something.
Before he did football, he was just sitting on his ass.
Yeah, it's true. It's genetic. Shouts out to Henry. Love you, buddy. He's probably going to be the only person listening to this.
You guys are shit.
You guys suck. Like, as he's playing League of Legends, just complaining. He's 10 years younger than me, so.
Turn it off.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, Henry.
Thanks for listening, buddy. Go clean your room. Go take a shower.
He's not going to listen to us anymore, big
Nope.
brother.
All right, I think I said everything I wanted to about that huge concept.
It's a pretty big
I just
concept.
that's what I was thinking of during this movie, and I don't have.
So
any...
drop in the bucket of the artificial intelligence discussion, and go listen to Sam Harris. Go listen to Tesla boy,
Elon
Musk.
Elon Musk thinks we live in a
Bill
simulation.
Gates.
You know that? I had to explain that to Jolie.
Was that his running idea? Like, he continues to believe that now in all seriousness?
I think in interviews he says it like, well, it's
he
very
says
possible.
it controversial. Yeah. He just says it to kind of throw something out there, but I don't think he actually believes.
I think he does. I've seen
Let's
interviews.
tweet him right now. At Elon Musk, do you actually
Just tweet
believe
at him.
that?
Let's tweet at him.
Do you actually think that we live in a what? Alternate reality?
Do you think the world, the universe is a simulation? Because he thinks that atoms or the quarks, the subatomic particles, are the like pixels.
Let's see.
Yeah. And physics is just like coding, like how biology and physics work.
At Elon Musk, my friend just said you.
Make it short. My friend thinks you think the universe is simulation. Tweet.
My friend thinks you think the world is a simulation.
Is this true?
The reality is our reality.
The universe.
The universe.
Yeah, he thinks the universe is a simulation.
Is a simulation.
Tell him to listen to the podcast.
Do you? Do you actually hold this to be true?
There you go. Tweet.
Hashtag too small to fail.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not what our...
They can Google it and find us, dude.
But that's not our. That can't be our hashtag. There's no way that we have a lot.
Yeah, I googled it, and there's a lot of like there's like a Clinton organization subset
Yeah.
that I don't know.
So I can't use that hashtag. We'll just do Kuhlman and Corey.
Sure.
I like how we use your last name, my first name.
You can brand it however you want. We're on episode 9 or 8, bro. You can pivot from here, and it's no problem. We are not set in stone.
Tweet.
All right,
That won't get any likes.
that'll get buried.
Or it blows up, and this is our.
Hey guys,
welcome.
Famous for a tweet.
We just broke through the plane. Thanks, Elon.
Let's wrap this bitch up. Close to it, right? Like
I never wrap it up.
That's why you have 4 children that are trying to contact you on Facebook, and you keep ignoring the messages.
The best part is Facebook. You just ignore, and you just don't get any message. Block. See ya,
Dad.
I'm in Florida. Come find me. You can't. Because my address is wrong on my ID, you losers.
I don't even know why you need an ID. You don't drive a car.
I like driving, so I want the ability to.
Okay, but all the information's wrong. FBI, come get him. We are the gods over the machines, and it's like kind of the reverse of Terminator. Or it's a prequel to Terminator.
Prequel to Terminator.
Sure.
Yeah. What is it called in the Terminator?
Skynet.
Skynet.
Yeah, Google is basically Skynet.
Yep.
Yeah.
You have that Google Home thing. Hey Google.
It's not plugged in.
Oh.
I intentionally have.
Unplugged.
Yeah, I'm scared of that
hear
thing.
my sex noises and
Yeah.
then start playing sexy music.
Yeah. Just
Why is that a sexy song?
the jazz.
That's what I mean.
I don't know why
it's not
just
Kenny
like-
G. Who is it?
Oh, I don't know.
Just
Yeah.
here's the clapping, and it's like, oh, we'll turn on some Kenny G. It's appropriate right now. Jesus.
My final bullet point is kind of like tying it to Westworld, and so Major takes the blue pill by stopping her meds. So they give her meds, and she like self does it in the back of her head, and that is supposed to keep her memory from remembering what happened before her accident, which put her brain into the body, or the ghost into the shell.
What does the doctor actually tell her it's for? And what it's for? I forget.
I forget some of the details. I don't think it's that important.
And you say it's not that important as I try to look it up on my phone.
Well, yeah, you're doing your research in real time. I'll keep going though.
Yeah, you keep.
This kind of reminded me of Westworld. If you delete the brain, the ghost survives. And I guess we already talked about that topic of trying to wipe the hard drive. You can never totally get rid of all of it. Like, there's going to be some part of that memory that is still within the hard drive. And so humans and brains and consciousness seem to be the same. There's some part of consciousness that remains even after the wipe. And this comes, I think, from our fear of death. And we want our awareness to survive termination. And I think that the fear comes from, like, humans are kind of scared to die because we are scared that our consciousness won't move on past this organic, like, once we're done, we're done. So we try to even, that's how people try to spread their legacy and get known by their friends, family. People try to get famous, try to become president, try to become...
So you use the word kinda there. Humans are kinda afraid of dying.
Oh, yeah.
I think that is
fundamental.
I think
part
that
of
is every human's struggle, and they kind of layer over it or try to icing. Is it
Icing on the
No, it's like
stripper cake. Sorry.
When you like kind of like put a facade over it, or what is it when you like give something to someone easy? Like don't
Placate me?
a little bit, but what's the metaphor or the
Patronize me? Give me more to work with here,
I'm
Corey.
sorry. When someone's like, yeah, don't give it to me straight. Instead
Someone
of
hand him a
like,
joint. He's got to give him a drink. Throw him a cigarette. man's
You
dying.
you make me sound like
I know,
this is how I survive. No, give it to me straight. Never mind.
Yeah,
But I think people like they like tend to they realize that in their reality, but they kind of put an excuse on top of it to not say that I'm afraid of dying. They're like, I'm afraid of not being successful. I'm afraid of not being remembered. I'm
it
afraid
kind of
of
all comes down to you're
not
scared
making
of,
it into heaven. I'm
Yeah.
afraid of not, all these different things. But
Yeah.
at the root of, if you break it down to it, if you could be their psychiatrist and be like, all right, that's the thought you just told me, but let's break that down further. And at the root of all of these kind of like struggles that people have, or why they are afraid of something, is afraid of dying. At the same time, it's like people who have arachnophobia or are scared of different things.
Same thing.
They're afraid of the spider because they think it's going to kill them.
Yeah.
Or they're afraid of heights because if I fall, I'm going to die. But all these fears can be broken down to you're not alive
And
in this world and you don't have
I'll
the
take this a step
consciousness.
further. So I think that fear of death is why we are going to push, despite maybe it being the right choice, to make AI. Because we're trying to pass
Continuation.
ourselves
Yeah.
onto that consciousness.
Well, I don't think we'll make AI. I think the prosthetic world, the artificial eye, the ears, the
Enhancements,
technology,
augmentations.
yeah, all this stuff that will enable us to live longer. It just will slowly blur the line of like, all right,
You think we're just
keep
gonna
going, keep going, and
You don't think
there's
there's going to be a moment in time where it goes, okay, before AI, we made this thing. After AI, we can never go back. You think it's just going to blur?
I think 50 years after we've already invented AI,
Sure.
and I don't think we as a collective will do it. I think it'll kind of be like a terrorist type thing of like.
You think there'd be a company, a tech company in Silicon Valley? I think that's where it's going to be.
I think that technology will develop in a way that, we're helping humans, and then all of a sudden something will be discovered, or the technology will be in place to be able to do it for someone who has alternative ideas
Yeah.
for it. Oh, I'm going to make this AI because I think it'll cleanse the world of all humanity. I think humanity is bad for the earth, and they're going to do it in their own cult type style, and it will not be what the world wants as far as the UN or
Okay.
these are the world resolutions that we're not inventing AI because we know it'll be dangerous. The terrorist organizations of that time in 100 years will be, oh, we're trying to do it because we want to end in the world. We have the technology. We just have to have that last breakthrough, and that'll kind of be the development. I don't think I'm making the prediction that we won't, that the fear of AI and its almost absolute power eventually will scare people from accepting that it should be okay to have or to develop.
Okay.
But
Say
at the
that
same
last
time, it's
point.
very.
Yeah, repeat that last point so you don't...
I don't think the world, as far as what their opinion is of developing AI and getting it to a reality,
Okay.
and its fullest form, because you can have alternate reality or artificial intelligence where it just manages a warehouse or it manages something. But if you want an artificial intelligence that has all of the human capabilities or the full human capabilities of a mind, I think we'll put a lock on that and be like, you can't reach this point. Like we have with medicine where you can't do a certain thing. You can't test on humans. We'll get to a certain point and it'll be a cutoff.
That's the Turing test.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of talked about a little bit earlier. So the Turing test is if you have a double-blind observer, like you have someone in a room who's closing their eyes and just talking like how I'm talking to you, and then we have another person that comes in, another thing. The first test I could tell it's a human. The second test, it's a computer, but they don't tell me it's a computer. They tell me it's... And I talk to the human. This was in Ex Machina. You remember that scene? And you can't tell the difference if you're talking to a machine or talking to a human. So at that point, and that's kind of a subjective. That could happen... It could happen right now, and we wouldn't find out about it for 5 months because the Turing test hasn't been conducted enough times to be reliable. And you're saying in that moment, that might be the point where we could put regulations and say you can't do that. You can make the best lawnmower ever that cleans your house and washes your car and mows your lawn and like a smart house or whatever. But as soon as it becomes sentient and passes the Turing test, and it can have a conversation with you that, the Jarvis that's behind from Iron Man, that's the point where a terrorist organization or some bad actors will push that point and ignore the rules, and that would be now the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah.
The
Genie's out of the bottle.
The genie's out of my box. And yeah.
Have you ever seen the movie Artificial Intelligence?
No.
With Robin, not with Robin Williams.
Bicentennial Man was with...
Bicentennial Man is with Robin Williams.
Yeah.
I recommend going to watch both of those movies.
Okay.
They are
early
highly,
2000s?
Yes, highly relevant to this kind of discussion of artificial intelligence. It's a little bit more on the Robin Williams kind of hits more notes on the human part of it.
Good.
But artificial intelligence is still asking that question of how far are we willing to go to blur the line between artificial and human. And those ideas have always stuck with me because I saw them early on. It's like, oh, this is like expanding my mind as far as like what I deem is okay. But they're a little bit dated movies as well. So Ex Machina is a really good example as well.
Yeah, but Ex Machina is going to be dated in 15 years. It's still going to be a great movie because they...
Well, in Ex Machina, we have the technology nowadays where, when he walks in, what is his name? He's a Star Wars guy.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name. Anyway, he walks into the building. Oh, no, it's not Star Wars. It is Star Wars. Both
Star
those
Wars
guys
guy.
in there.
Yeah, looks like Ron Weasley a little bit, but he's... No, he's
You just classify all redheads as
No,
Ron Weasley?
he's actually the brother. He's in those movies, so I'm not like completely off. He plays his brother, Ron Weasley's older brother.
Anyway, he walks into the guy's house and he sees an actual robot. In Artificial Intelligence and Bicentennial Man, they are human actors who are explained to be robots. And you don't get to see like an open brain.
That's almost like a mini Turing test right there.
Yeah.
It's like, can we tell that they're
exactly.
CGI has like a Turing. It's you ever heard of the concept the uncanny valley?
Mm-mm.
So if you make technology look human-like, it starts out really cute, right? Like a little face and oh, it's kind of cute, and then you make it more realistic, and it gets to the point where it's like, oh, that's cool, and then you reach where it's so realistic, but then it's slightly off. That's uncanny, and it's super
off-putting.
Creepy.
Yeah.
So like you ever seen creepy like blow-up dolls? They're like, ugh, that's so.
Oh, the sex dolls.
Yeah, it's like that. Just look like it's a very pretty, like I guess, quote unquote, feminine face, but just something about it's like, ugh,
No.
that's.
Yikes.
So that's the uncanny valley. And so these movies, you gotta reach the point of acting. If you have a human actor, it looks like a human. It's not weird or off-putting.
Was it uncanny for spoilers for Leia?
Hold on. We're not talking about Star Wars yet.
This is just a question. I didn't say it was about Star Wars. Leia could be anyone, but you know what I'm talking
Next
about. They
episode-
don't talk.
can we
Now
save
they
this?
now they know what I'm talking about.
Can we save this for the next episode?
Spoilers. Spoiler alert. Episode.
We're talking about episode 9, Rise of
on
the
our
Skywalker.
episode 8 of our podcast about episode 9.
Yeah.
Hype.
But yeah, that's can you like with CGI, like what made Jurassic Park so good is that the CGI still holds up, and they didn't do all this.
You're talking
crazy
original
stuff.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
because the new ones are shit.
I have watched 20 minutes and I was bored.
Yeah.
But anyway,
it's an interesting idea that we have so many movies nowadays that the magic is lost. Movies nowadays don't hold up as well. You have to really search in the rough for the diamonds, whereas it used to be like you'd get kind of a couple diamonds a year and you knew that they were coming.
I don't mind bad CGI. I mean, I'm so able to
I'm not talking about CGI. I'm talking about diamonds as a movie as a whole. Whereas Jurassic Park holds up because not just what the dinosaurs looked like, but because of all the rest of the stuff that was kind of built into it. Whereas the new Jurassic Parks, it's not the CGI that's bad. It's kind of like
just a bad movie.
It's just not as good as what it was.
I'm gonna save this conversation for the next episode too, because I feel the same way about the new Star Wars.
Okay.
You wanna end? Ghost in the Shell?
I love finishing
I bet you do.
episodes.
Call in Corey. He needs
They can't hear you. You're talking away from the mic.
He needs some more friends.
I have too many friends. You know how many
That's true.
You know how many things I had to decline this weekend in order just to stay the fuck home? Like, I was like, what?
I believe you. Yeah,
That's like, no, I don't want to do this and this and this.
yeah.
But anyway,
Final thoughts of Ghost in the Shell. I thought towards the end we got like towards the philosophy of it. And I really like that.
that's good. I
Aspect
think
of it.
that is much more interesting topic than us just regurgitating what happened in the movie and
I agree.
Just giving little tidbits on it. I think getting into but you also have to have a movie. You also have to have the outline of a movie that enables you to have that discussion. Whereas some movies are you're just not going to talk about the philosophies of ancient Roman or like just historical
That's why
stuff.
that's what you and me like about movies. We
Yeah.
like what's happening on screen, but then what it makes us think of, and we have enough to connect the dots with other animes and other Westworld and only you and me have watched them,
You and I.
only you and I have watched them and put them together in the way that only we can do, and it culminates in us being friends watching these kinds of stuff, and we
So
want to
I
connect
don't-
with
I
other
don't-
people that also like this what we're talking about. So
Right. Well, we want people to actually like be able to identify or have a thought that be able to hear a thought that they've never thought about by
Yeah.
listening to us. But I don't necessarily watch movies to gain something beyond the movie. As in normal life, where I kind of try to keep things as basic as I can. That's my movie going experience. Is like pretend. I kind of go into it pretending I don't know anything about the movie. I don't know anything outside of the movie. I'm not trying to read into the movie. I'm starting at a complete base level going to this movie. And then I judge it based on that. So I try to keep it as in a perspective as I can, and not going like, oh, let me go watch this Star Wars movie because Star Wars historically has been so good. Sure, that's a part of it, but I still go into the movie not expecting anything, not overanalyzing anything, not trying to be hypercritical about stuff. And it's not until I probably watch the movie for the second or third time that, all right, let me be the heavy hitter on this movie and really kind of try to take it apart in a way, and that could be good or bad.
what I really like about being friends with you and the way you view movies is that you do that, but you still have a good eye for what's happening and you catch most things. Whereas most people, like I would say, majority of people, if they sit down to watch a movie, they'll check their phone or they'll just not be engaged with it, or they wouldn't want to talk about it afterwards. Like maybe in the 5 minutes on the drive home, but not anything more than that. Whereas you and I are just entranced and enthralled by, like, you go on the subreddit R movies and you just like looking up stuff. You're just interested by all of it. You want to know what's coming out and things to look forward to or gems from the past, and that makes it worth whatever your perspective is interesting to me. And I think we both get along and do this thing and talk about it. We're going to find like-minded people who also would click on
Like you,
Ghost in the Shell.
the listener.
Like you, dear viewer.
Call in.
No, you should
Tweet.
interact. I've made this point. I'll keep on making this point.
You got to keep making this point for the next
Interact.
episode. 93 episodes.
Yeah, 93 episodes. Interact with us. We are a small channel. Drop a comment.
We ain't got shit else to do.
We got lots of things to do, but we want
Your
to
life is
build
so
this thing
full of
up.
things to do, Mike.
We want to build this thing up, and how we're gonna do it.
Don't
is-
tell them the secret. Shh.
It's not a secret. It's
It is a
it's
secret.
full. We want to engage back and interact and
We should name our podcast Full Disclosure.
full disclosure. That's a working title. I can get around that. Full disclosure. I don't like it, but
Yeah, we can just Full Disclosure and then semicolon, and we can just put whatever title we want for each episode.
yeah. All right. Well, that'll definitely happen in the future. Why full disclosure?
Because we're always talking about
I'm not going to disclose everything fully, though.
It doesn't seem like you have a problem so far in the last 7 episodes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I pee sitting down.
Full disclosure. Corey does not want me to say this.
Unless it's a urinal, of course. I can't sit down in those.
Yeah, unfortunately. The
If I was
technology
really-
isn't there
if
yet.
I was really drunk, I mean, maybe.
Yeah. So anyway, we also want to make more avenues for people to interact with us. I'm going to end the episode. You guys all get it. You guys get it. Fuck off.
No, not you. He's telling me to fuck up.
Yeah, well, fuck you guys.
Oh,
Fuck everyone.
no! Anal! Suck their dick!
Oh my god. Corey, you gotta stop saying that. We gotta be clean. We gotta be a good PG podcast that mom could show their kids in the car rides to school.
Oh yeah, that's definitely who we want. The kids listening to us talk about artificial intelligence and whether or not we're gonna fucking die.
Y'all
And
can
not-
handle it. And if
not-
you've listened to us so far, you can
no
handle us.
consciousness transfer. You're just dead. There is no heaven.
Yeah.
You bunch of sinners. You're going to hell.
Is there any last words you want to sign off and say goodbye and wrap up this episode?
I was gonna do spoiler for Star Wars, but I won't.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
no, I don't have any.
All right,
final
bye.
thoughts.